We had a situation with a truck that had some wood come off of it when it was nighttime out, and the wood came off the trailer, struck a vehicle, and a woman and her 2-year-old daughter were killed in that accident. And we started a log truck task force immediately after that happened, to try and find ways to stop that from ever happening again. And ultimately what happened was we found out that the department, in this case MDOT, didn't seem to respond the way we thought they should. They weren't working with us. They seemed like they were working against us. And so ultimately, when it was all said and done, I decided I was going to run for office and try to make some changes and get them to be more responsive and listen to us. And the first piece of legislation I passed was the crib trailer legislation. I think Washington needs to have needs to listen to the people the same as I thought on the state level. The Washington bureaucrats aren't listening. They're governing through rules and regulations, forcing us to do things of citizens that they're not happy with. You see a lot of folks are very disappointed in the government. You can see it the way they talk, the way they interact with the government. They don't trust them. I think that needs to be addressed, and we need to work on those issues. It shouldn't be like that. The federal government should be limited in their scope, and they should allow the states to do more of really what they're doing, and ultimately local government is the answer. And I tried to do that on the state level, push things to the local level as much as I could, and ultimately I see the same thing on the federal level, only in a bigger scope, bigger scale, and that is that the federal government's trying to control everything, and I call it central command, but they're trying to control everything from their level. And it's not right. They're doing way more than they should. They're imposing too many rules and regulations on us. And that was never what the federal government was intended to do. So I think it's trying to get back to our roots and get back to what the founding fathers really wanted, and that was a very limited federal government. I think he'd be excited. My dad was always one that told me that, you know, if you're going to do anything, do it right or don't do it at all. And his philosophy was you work hard at whatever you do. And he instilled that in me, and sure miss him and wish that he was here to see this, because it's been quite an experience to be able to do what I have done in representing Northern Michigan in the capacity that we've done it. So I think this would only, you know, enhance that. The Eagle Mine is an operation that was originally they had come to us because there was no parameters around how they could mine underground like that. And so they wanted to have something put in place that would guide and direct them with rules as to what the parameters were. So I worked on that in the House. And there was a case of you had environmental groups that were at the table working with us, but they were not there, in my opinion, with good intentions. Their intentions were to shut the mine down. They didn't want it. And we found the same type of activities going on right now with the federal government, the EPA. Clearly, they don't like mining, they don't want mining, and the rules and the scope of the rules that they impose on those type of activities become unreasonable, because the deal really isn't to make sure that they do it appropriately, it's to stop them altogether. And that's another reason why I am very passionate about running in this congressional race, to go and try and address some of those issues and get them back to what was really they were intended to do, and that was to be a partner and help these processes move forward, making sure we do it appropriately, but allowing for the activity to happen. Well, we put the wood burning stove resolution together because we found out that the federal government was trying to regulate outside wood boilers, which on the surface doesn't sound bad, but ultimately what they're doing is they're putting regulations in place that are going to kill the outside wood boiler industry. They can't, to meet the regulation will be so steep and so expensive that there's no way people could even afford the boilers. And so we ran a resolution asking them, or in a sense from the state level, telling them to stop, because they'd gone way too far with this. And then on top of that, what we did was I ran legislation that blocked the state from enforcing any of those rules. So it was everything I could do on the state level to address it, and we left it up to the feds. So if the federal government wants to come into the state of Michigan and enforce a wood boiler rule, then they'll have to do that because they can't do it on the state level because my legislation will not allow state officials to do it.